Okay, I wanted to do a little bit of give you a little bit of information on how I set up to long line. I've got 8 rods out the back here. I'm by myself this morning. There's a little front coming through, and I was hoping that we'd have a little cloud cover this morning, and maybe that'll be good. I don't know with the front coming through. But anyway, we're going to try it. Got 8 rods. All of them have Shimano reels on them. The advantage to that is they have the drag on the back, so if you get snagged up and don't realize it right away, sometimes it's hard to get the rod out of the holder, and you can just loosen that drag and it'll come right out. We're going to start putting rods out, starting on the inside, and work our way out. That way we can just throw them all out any way we want to at 90 degrees from the boat. And I'm making a pretty good long cast. I'll show you the setup when we get a little more light this morning. But most of them are 3/32 jig heads with a 1/32 trailer on the back, on the bottom. The rods across the very back are 8-foot Crappie Max rods. The rest of the rods are the B&M trolling rods. This one I'm about to cast now is a 16-footer. The one next to it is a 12. And that's all there is to it. You want to keep your reel tang right here behind the forks of these rod holders. I have had fish pull rods into the lake, and the thing I like to do is I like to keep the rod tips close to the water, about 6 inches or so off the water. I'm going to try to keep him in his lane. You see, if you can see back there, he's trying to go over these other lines. Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good start. That's solid, a little over 12, solid fish. We'll put him in the live well. I don't plan on keeping any fish today, but I want to show you the setup that I caught that last fish on. This is a 3/32 jig on top, round head jig with a light wire hook on it. Fish are still over the brush and the timber, so still using these light wire hooks. And then about 2.5, 3 feet away, I've got the 1/32 round head. This bottom jig is what I caught that fish on. You've got all your lines out. Getting a bite on that rod right there. And you've caught a fish and you gotta put this rod back in the water. You want to cast it in between these lines as best you can, and I don't always get that right, so that looks like that'll work. This feels like a real good fish right here if it's a crappie. See some of the issues with long lining, but you catch fish sometimes. It's over 12.5. You'll do 10.5 easy. This feels like a good fish. Over 12. Another feature about this Minn Kota, I don't know if you can see this little rabbit icon right here, but if you double click that, it'll take you about 2.8 miles an hour real fast, so you can get turned around. You got to make wide turns when you're long line trolling to keep the lines from tangling up. But anyway, the faster you can get back over the spot where you're catching your fish, it stands to reason you're going to catch more fish. About 11-inch fish. That's nearly a 12-inch fish, but not quite. That makes 5. Real good fish. 12 and a half. About 11 3/4. This is a small guy, but I got a bite right here, so I'm gonna let him stay there. Let's see what we got here. About 11, almost 11 and a half. Another one on a blue ice. This one's a curly tail. 12 inches. You don't want to come. I don't know why. I ain't going. Have a mess here in a minute, but we got a fish. A good fish. That's the fish of the day right there so far. 13 1/4. Had to move to another spot. Wind kind of ran me out of the last place. And the fish were really biting good. I hated to leave, but I couldn't stay on them. That's what we're after. $12 plus, 12 and a half maybe. Good picture of a bunch of fish in a treetop. Ought to be able to catch one of those. Okay, that's breaking the rules. 13. Maybe. As you can see, I'm tying on jigs. That's normal. Well, I'm catching fish. That's good news. 12 and a half. Inches. 11 inches, that makes 20.